Hey everyone, so today I wanted to talk to you about how I run Storyline using my Mac. Storyline is native to PC and Windows operating system. It is not native to Mac. There is not currently a Mac version of Articulate Storyline, although I'm sure that it's coming down the pipe sometime in the near future. Um, what I wanted to talk about is how I kind of set up my system. And then once I talk about how I set up my system, I'll show you in other videos how I do specific things. So, the first thing to note is that I have a MacBook Pro with Retina display. I also have an iMac 4K display, and for them, what you have to do in order to run Windows applications is you either need to have a virtual machine that's a partition of your Mac OS through something like Mac's innate Bootcamp, or you need to use an application such as Parallels Desktop or VMware in order to simultaneously run both operating systems. Now, what I first did when I got my Mac, because I used to be a PC user, I just went around and said, you know what, they've got this innate capability using Boot Camp, so I'm going to set up a Windows partition. It's going to be great. So I set Boot Camp up. I had to guess at how much space I was going to need on that partition. Both partitions, it didn't seem to work out well for the space I allocated, which was frustrating. And the other frustrating thing with Boot Camp was that I had to power down my Mac OS and start up my Windows OS anytime I wanted to work on a Windows project. And for me, this really threw a wrench into my workflow because I like to multitask. I like to work on multiple different projects at any given time. And I like to do that seamlessly without having to shut down and restart every time I want to work on something or have to allocate all of my Windows projects to one chunk of the day and all of my Mac projects to another chunk of the day. So, Bootcamp didn't work very well for me. I do know many people who love working in Bootcamp. For me, it's not the case. So, in came Parallels Desktop. You'll see the little equal, I guess, sideways equal icon up here. This is Parallels Desktop. And what that is it's a virtual machine that allows you to run both your Mac OS and your Windows OS simultaneously. This is fantastic because it means that I don't have to power down, power up. I can just work seamlessly within one environment, and it has settings that allows you to share folders between operating systems, share all of your documents within operating systems. It is fantastic. Now, what you have to do when you install Parallels Desktop is you also need to purchase and install a Windows operating system. So once you have those two things done, then you can download and install any Windows application. When I start a Windows application, so if say this was a Windows application, if I double click that, it would just automatically open in Windows. As you can see, you see the parallels icon here denoting that this file, which is a Storyline 2 file, is a Windows program and it will be opening using Parallels Desktop. Now, I find that this works very seamlessly. I don't have any lag or any issues with running Storyline on Parallels, but there are a few things that you need to be mindful of when you're setting up your configurations. And one of those things I wanted to talk about is your views. So the way that I have my view, the default is not in coherence. So we're going to exit coherence for a moment. Now, when we exit coherence, you'll see that Windows kind of starts up in its own little window. And we've got all of our stuff here, just like we would on a Windows desktop. If you minimize, you'll see we've got the same folders here. There's a few different files that I've copied over just to Windows to do some testing. Now, I find this is really clunky. I don't like operating like this. I prefer to operate in coherence. So if we go back up to our views and change to enter coherence, it will start coherence. And what that means is that you can start any of your applications seamlessly without having to toggle between the two windows. So you'll get your Windows 7 Start button here. And from here, you can select any of your Windows applications and open those. So if we wanted to start Storyline 3, we can either start from here or from the taskbar if we have it down there. And it's going to start up. It starts up like a well-oiled machine. I don't find it takes very long to kick in and get started, but I guess that's to each their own. So some people might have expectations for things to run faster. For me, this works. Um, and then if we wanted to open an existing storyline project, so say we want to open the Storyline 2 project, all we have to do is double click it and it's going to automatically open in parallels in Storyline 2. So for me, parallels makes the most sense. Now, I want you to stay tuned for the rest of the week because this week we are going to be kind of talking about different challenges running Mac OS on a virtual machine. And there are some things, like I said before, that you need to be mindful of. Some settings, such as your graphic settings. You need to be mindful of how you install fonts. And I'd like to talk about all of that this week. So definitely stay tuned. I've got a whole bunch of tips for working in Articulate Storyline in a Mac operating system. So hopefully this will help clarify any confusion that you had when it comes to operating Articulate products on a Mac operating system.